Cars on the move. This is Ty.
Ty, it's Rich at the auto auction.
Hey, Rich. How are you today?
I'm good. Hey, day before the sale, can you pick up 6 units for me at Bob's?
I'm sorry. Try it one more time.
I got 6 units for you at Bob's.
6?
6.
Yeah, I can grab them for you.
All right, thank you.
Set out?
Yeah, you know the drill. You know Bob?
Bob's got them? Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll call Bob.
All right, thanks, Ty.
Yeah, I'll have them there late tonight. All right,
perfect.
Thank you.
Thanks, bye.
This is Rich.
Hello?
Hello, it's Rich.
Hey, Rich.
Yeah.
Hey, hang on.
Hey, I'm at the transport parking lot with Bob's Cars. Can you got a minute to meet me at the gate?
Yes, sir. I'll be right there.
Okay, thanks. See you. Bye.
Bye. I'm Rich Levine, and this is Meet Me at the Gate, where we're not just talking theory, we're tackling real-world problems head-on, driving solutions that supercharge productivity and team dynamics. Every episode is a journey towards improvement, empowering you, the manager, to lead with innovation and confidence. Join us to transform everyday roadblocks into highways for success.
Hey, Rich. Well, I'm really pent up because we did this show last week, and I was thinking about it. I'm like, what was it? We left off the cliffhanger, remember?
Yes, we did leave off the cliffhanger, and I've been thinking about this all week long, and I'm ready to rock and roll. I got some questions for you.
Let's do it.
But before we get too carried away, welcome back to Meet Me at the Gate. I'm Rich Levine. I'm your host, and I'm with my good friend, Ty Thompson. Ty is a transport guru. He's owned I think by now we're up to 48, 96, 128 Peterbilts you used to own?
No, not quite. I did own 20 at one time. That's for sure.
I did too, and they fit in my little container. I was like 12 years old, and I had a Matchbox case, and all my Peterbilts fit in there. All 20 of them in there. But anyway, so onto some serious side. So we're here to help managers, and we want to help managers become better at whatever it is they're doing, anything in the auto remarketing space. But today I want to pose you with a problem and present this to you because I know it happens at a lot of auctions, and you're a transport guy. So auctions typically run a dealer consignment sale once a week, and it's always at the same time, right? You're laughing, you know where I'm going. Hey, Ty, I got a sale tomorrow, and I got 56 cars I need picked up at 19 different places. Can you get it done for me?
I was thinking about it. I'm like, can you imagine being either an auction sales rep, which I talk about auction sales reps a lot, to car hauler guys starting out. You want to become a car hauler, you want to start your own business. We build it to leave it, and we ask all the time, who's your customer? So in my world, what I'm familiar with is auctions, dealers, and repo people. So within the auction, I like to talk about one of my favorite topics, I'll talk about it for a long time, is the auction sales rep. And the reason I like to talk about the auction sales rep is because they're almost 100% relational. I'd say pretty much 100% relational. And what I mean by that's the tip, the clue is that they know the dealer, they know what the dealer wants, they know what the dealer needs, and their job is to make that happen. So they have two primary roles, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I've never worked at an auction. But as I observe auction sales reps, I've decided they do two primary jobs. Go get cars, go get buyers.
Yeah. And what I want to do, though, is so in order to help managers, I believe that sometimes you got to step out of your element, get out of your comfort zone. So you as a former transporter that moved cars in and out of auctions for dealers, you probably called up by the auction. You may have been told by an auctioneer too, hey, Ty, you're a little rambunctious. Just go sit this sale out. But anyway, that's a different story for a different day. Let's help some salespeople or some managers transcend their role. So let's go to the role of the transporter. So let's look at this through your eyes, not through the auction eyes or not through the dealer eyes. What goes through your mind on the day before a sale, 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning, I call you up, Ty, and say, look, I got these 56 cars I need picked up at 19 different locations. Go get them. I need them here by 6 o'clock so I can check them in.
Well, the initial response is, okay, I'll take care of that for you, Rich. Thanks. I appreciate your business. Send the information. As soon as I hang up the phone, I start going through the drawers trying to find a knife, ice pick, and start stabbing my leg, right? Because I know what's going to happen.
What happens?
You send over the information. You got 3 Ty's used trucks. Well, I send my 3 car hauler over there. And he gets there, and there's one. Where'd the other two go? Oh, well, we don't know. Really, you don't know? Because I got here a little early. I had my guy get there early. I saw another truck coming in there picking him up that said so-and-so, and I know you wholesaled him. What are you going to do? Are you going to yell at the guy? No. Are you going to throw a big baby fit? No. I mean, if you do, you're probably not going to be doing business with the dealer or the auction anymore. So you sent me over there to get 3. I only got 1. I'm a little bit upset. How do I deal with that?
So you're upset. I'm upset because I'm only getting 1 from a dealer consignment. So I'm going to call and yell at you and say, Ty, why'd you only bring me 1?
Well, that's true. And then so then it depends on, like, I've had relationships with the dealer. One of the things I always say is love the dealer. And the reason I say that is because they're probably the hardest group to love. And they're our customer. I wouldn't have a job if there wasn't somebody buying cars and selling cars. So, hey, dealer, I understand, no problem. You're upset, auction guy. I'm upset, transport guy. Does anybody yell at this guy? No. So what I did, solution. What's the solution? 1. I'll just give you 1 solution.
Yeah.
What I did was I figured out that we'll just call this, we'll call this dealer, we'll call him Bob, okay? Bob, your sale's on Wednesday. Bob calls every Tuesday, day before sale, Wednesday, calls you, Rich, auction guy, hey, I've got 3, maybe 4. Okay, well, what are they? Well, I don't really know yet. Okay, that complicates things because Ty, transport, I need to know, do I send a 3-car, a 4-car, 6-car, or 9-car? What am I going to send to get that? So Bob says I got 4. He doesn't know what they are. Rich, auction guy, calls Ty, transport guy. He says he's got 3, maybe 4, and I don't know what they are. Can you go get them? This is day before sale around noon. Okay. Now, the next critical part here is for my background, this phone call is always more than 70 miles away, day before sale. Okay. This isn't across town. This is 70 miles from where I live, logistically. To get to that auction is 70 miles is the closest auction. 150 is the next closest. But for transportation as a whole in the industry, what I do is short mile, long dollar. 150, 70 miles is not very far. So what I started doing was I started just watching this. Bob called. Bob said he had 3, maybe 4. Bob doesn't know what they are. Bob absolutely knows what they are. Promise you. Bob calls it 10 because, this is no joke, Bob has trained his wholesalers to get there at 8 o'clock every Tuesday morning and go through his wholesales and buy them before they get on the truck. That's real talk. Nobody talks like that. Is that the truth,
No.
Rich?
That hurts. And usually the truth hurts.
Well, but so here's what I've been doing. This is recent, say within the last 3 months. I've really been thinking about this because actually my son and his buddy got their wholesale license. And they're like, hey, where do we find cars? I said, well, what I would do is I would go to the
Meet me at the gate and I'll tell you.
Meet me at the gate and I'll tell you what to do. Get there before the transport and the auction guy and you can get the cars. Well, why is that? I mean, really start thinking about why is that? Because honestly, the dealer is up to here with fees. Okay, I'm going to be real honest. I don't blame the guy for if I'm a dealer and I can get rid of that car, I don't have to mess with Ty the transport guy, I don't have to mess with Rich the auction guy, and I can get my money, what I put in that trade, maybe a couple $100 more, I'm taking it if I'm the dealer. And I'm not, that sounds so mean and crude and rude, like the dealer's shady. Well, he's not. And the reason I say that is because what's it cost to buy a car? What are the fees associated with that, right? So
Yes.
If I'm not out to help the dealer, I'm going to help the auction and I'm going to help the transport guy. So this is what I did. I figured out Bob tells his wholesalers every Tuesday morning, you better be here before 9 a.m. because got the auction. They're coming sometime 10 to 5. So if there's anything out here you want, you better hurry up and get it. Well, there were 3 for sure. Maybe 4. So that means 3 cars didn't get bought, but he's probably still working a deal on 1. That's why when you get there, there's only 3, right?
Yeah.
So what I tried to do is, okay, first I get to know my auction sales rep. We do this, we run into this every week. Same guy, same problem, okay? So I get there at 8 a.m. Tuesday morning. He hasn't called the auction. He doesn't know, what are you doing here? I'm just here, just getting ready, because usually I'm here by 4 or 5, and I don't have anything to do today, so I'm just here, and I'm just watching. And I'm verifying what I think I know is happening, and sure enough, it's happening. Here comes 3 different dudes in 3 different cars, walking through all the cars. You know, when I'm training car hauler guys, I'm like, always go to the back of the lot. and look what's in the back of the lot. What are you doing with those cars, dealer? Ask about it. He's either wholesaling them to his buddies in town, or he's putting them on a truck and they're going to an auction. So as a transport guy, you learn that. And me personally, I'm for the dealer and I'm for the auction. So I'm working with both of you. Somebody's gonna pay me. If Rich calls me and he says, Ty, go get Bob's cars, I'm gonna hop in my truck. Rich is gonna pay me, not Bob, 9 times out of 10. That's why I have a good relationship with the auction. Is that how it works at your auction? Yeah.
I call you up, you go pick up the cars.
And I send you the invoice, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And I hope the invoice matches the number of cars. So what happens is, this is where it can get really fun and I've done this, and it is doable. It works. You build this relationship with the auction general manager, assistant manager, sales reps, transportation department. You build the relationship. You're like, look, this is an ongoing problem. Let's make a deal. I mean, when you start getting 70 plus miles away, 150 miles. I drove 150 miles to pick up 6 cars. I'm counting on 6 cars because diesel fuel is not cheap and insurance is not cheap and drivers aren't cheap and tires aren't cheap. So I really need 6 cars. Okay, Rich? And time is not cheap either because I can't replace time. You can replace tires,
Exactly.
fuel, insurance, all that stuff. You can't replace time.
Right, especially when you start talking about the electronic logbook. That's a real device that really tracks the time, and it's clicking constantly. So your time is very important. Good point. I know the transport community, and the transport community isn't always professional. Hey, you told me there were going to be 6 cars, and boop, beep. Do you got a beep button in there? Beep, where you bleep out the bad words. And I've dealt with this because I was also a broker, but I had owner operators that would lease on to me, and I'd send them to go get 3 cars, and there was only 1. And oh man, did they go crazy, right? They don't do well with that. So what I would do is I would build that relationship with the auction, try to build that relationship with the dealer. So if you told me to go get 6 and there's only 5, would you be willing to work out a deal with me, Rich?
It'd be in my best interest to work out a deal with you.
Right. So the way that I would work the deal is I don't want you to pay for empty space. I mean, I like money, but I'd rather have 6 cars so we didn't have to make this deal. So the way that I work it is do you have anything going that direction, or do you have anything else in the neighborhood that you need to get picked up while I'm here?
Yeah.
Follow me?
Yep. Add on, build a load. Last thing I want is empty parking spots.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and you want cars, and I want cars because that's how I make money. That's how you make money. So that's kind of always been my solution is try not to blow my top and get angry, try to be kind, try to work a deal, try to understand, try to get an understanding from the dealer what he's doing. You know, the cars may be bringing more money at the auction and he may not realize that. And I might say while I'm there, I'm like, I just watched those same 3 cars at the auction last week bring 10 grand a piece. What are you doing? Oh, really? Throw them on the truck. Here's the keys. You know.
Yeah. So
that kind of stuff happens.
Yeah. So Bob wholesaled those 3 cars last week, and you come to my auction and drop off Bob's other 3 cars, and lo and behold, those 3 wholesalers had also stuck those cars in the sale. And now you see Bob's 3 cars plus those 3 cars, and they all do really well, but Bob probably left a lot of money on the table. Yeah. Possibly. Yeah. But then you don't want to undercut the wholesalers either, because the wholesalers got to fit in there, and maybe they have a way. So you've really bridged a unique piece of it, and it's walking through your side and opening up the eyes, saying, "Hey, the wholesaler is going to be there before anybody else gets there." So number one,
the smart wholesalers, yes.
I guess a little trick up the sleeve that we can take away from this is if Bob, you call up Bob as an auction manager, sales manager, you call up Bob and Bob says, "Yeah, I got 6 for you. Come pick them up at noon." I'm going to pick up the phone and call Ty and say, "Ty, can you be there at 10 and beat them at their own game?"
Sure. Yeah.
And what's the worst thing? You walk in and you're early, right? If you're ahead of schedule, I mean, come on.
The worst thing I can do is tell you to go sit in your truck. And I've done that. I mean, nobody was really mad about it. I always thought it was weird when you got there early, though, because when you're late, they yell at you. But
it's just what I was going to bring up.
Yeah.
They want you on time. What are you hiding?
So that's the thing. I'm counting on your relationship with your dealer customer, and I'm counting on you know him better than anybody. So when you call me, I'll say, "Hey, Rich, does Bob do this every week?" And I'm really hoping that you know the answer to that question. Yeah, every week. Yeah. Okay, not a problem. If he calls every week and he says he's got 6 and it's always some different number, it doesn't matter. I'll be there at noon, guaranteed, every week. We'll try to get there a couple hours early, too. I'll be there at 10 every week, and we'll see what happens. And there's something always turns up in that, by the way. Especially if you train. So I try to train my drivers like, okay, don't get mad. Don't get mad. Just say, hey, do you maybe have another car over here like that one? No, I don't know about that one, but maybe that one. Let me go check. So I always encourage my truck drivers, car hauler guys, get to know the porter guy, the guy that's always delivering, giving you the cars, bring them to your truck, bringing you the keys, whatever. That guy that nobody pays attention to and everybody's yelling at that guy. Talk about that. Do you know that guy, Rich?
Yeah, I know those guys.
Okay. Well, I always train my drivers to make really good friends with them. Bring them a Coke, give them a cold water, be nice to them, go help them get the cars. And as you build that relationship with that guy, when you go and you say, man, they said that I was supposed to get 6 and you're only giving me 4. Oh, well, hang on, buddy. Let me see what I can do. And you'd be shocked what this guy knows and what this guy has the ability to do. That is always overlooked, that is always thrown at. Everybody's always dumping their trash on this guy. You will be shocked what this guy knows. I promise, every time. Yeah, well, I would have my drivers, you got $10 on you? Yeah. Okay, give that guy $10. I'll get you $10 in about 30 minutes. I'll be there. But give that guy $10 and tell him thank you. Okay. And it sounds like you're buying business. You're not. You're trying to make things go smooth. You're trying to help this little guy running around with his head cut off. He just wants to get the cars out of here and get the cars that are coming in where they belong. So his job is in and out. And I love watching these guys, the guys that really know what they're doing. They're amazing. My solution has always been relationship and pay attention. Listen, ask a couple important questions. Don't be a jerk about it. Just follow that conversation and see where it goes. And you'll find out 9 times out of 10. Bob knows that it's not good for you to come to get 6 and there's only 4. He knows that. So eventually we can get to that point where we have a conversation with Bob and try to maybe work that out in some way.
It opens up the conversation when we're talking about managers at auctions. So you're telling your drivers, you're coaching your drivers to not get mad. But the same thing goes for the sales manager or the sales rep at the auction. Hey, when Bob calls and says he's got 6, you get there and there's only 4, and then Ty show up with the 4 cars. The sales rep, I've seen it. I've been there. I get frustrated. We get mad. We get upset. But that's when you got to take that second to check and say, wait a second, don't do this. Let's ask why and start investigating. Maybe we call up Bob. Bob, hey, you said there's 6, but we only brought 4. What's going on? And he's going to tell you, who knows what he's going to tell you, but maybe as a sales rep, you get there earlier, go walk the lot, go see what's going on. And then there's another piece. What's the keys? Sorry
to interrupt you. Yeah. So you just jogged my memory. I would strategically plant guys, knowing the call's coming, knowing that this is the guy, the perp, call him the perp. That's rude. Yeah. But knowing Bob's going to do that. So I would strategically plant people. Go get the keys now. He's got 4 keys. Go get 4 keys. See what happens. And you push that, and you'll find out real quick, is there 3 or 4? That may not be the right answer, but as soon as you get the keys, it's hard to sell them.
Yeah, and you're being proactive. No, you're being proactive by doing this. And a lot of times, what my experience in the past has been, you pick up the phone, you call the transporter, you call Ty, and you say, hey, Ty, I got 4 for you, I got 6 for you, whatever the number is, and you come back. I might call you at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You show up at 6 o'clock at the auction. Everybody's tired. We're trying to get the last few cars come in. You didn't get your load. I didn't get what I wanted for the sale. And then now you've got this collision going on. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I've had so many of those.
Yeah. You're mad at me because I told you there's 6 and there's only 4. I'm mad at you because you only brought 4 and I told you there was 6.
Well, you're also mad at me because I'm showing up at 6 and you've been there all day and you're ready to go home. But you forgot that I've been at your dealer's buddies all day long dicking around trying to get 4 keys. You don't even want to know how mad I am when flames start coming out of my eyes, laser beams.
But we got 56 cars we got to pick up, Ty. Remember I told you this. There's 56 cars.
We're just still trying to get 4.
And that, I think this amplifies or shows the significance of how much work it is just to go pick up cars and how difficult it really can be to get cars into the auction. And if you don't have, one of my favorite words, if you don't have empathy, like if I can't say, and empathize with you, like, why did you not try to understand from your perspective why you didn't get 6 cars? And then use that same empathy with the sales guy. Show the sales guy you care.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's your homework. I think you're walking into some strategy, perhaps. I don't know if we can call this process, but I think strategy is a good word. And the reason I think strategy is because, okay, let's say you're in Houston, and let's say you have 56 cars at 19 places. I don't know, we didn't talk about it, but I would be curious. Is that 56 places in the greater Houston metro?
No, 56 cars at 19 places in the greater Houston metro, or the greater Austin or greater Dallas, whatever metro, in Kansas City. So you're up north in Missouri. 70 miles is probably equivalent to me going 10 miles or 15 miles in a densely populated city where you got rush hour traffic all day long, nonstop, bumper to bumper, or stoplights if you want to take the back roads. But how many times can you fit a big rig or a tractor trailer or whatever it is, a rollback down some of these back roads, side roads? And sometimes you can't do it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So this is where I wanted to clarify. I'm glad we did clarify, because in a big metro area, this is a conversation that I'm sure people talk a lot about, but you don't hear people talk about it, which is drive-away. I mean, I would probably be, if I was an auction manager in a metro area, I would be using 3 car haulers and drive-away all day long. Maybe 4 car, 5 car, maybe 6, okay, whatever. But I would not be doing big stingers, big semis. You know what a stinger is? Stinger is the one that you see got cars on the roof, on the hood of your truck, and 3 on your truck, and then usually 6 on your trailer behind you. That's a stinger. So those are not really good for in town. Now, I like it because back in the day, if you got a lot of volume, if I got 56 cars sitting in one spot, I'm sending my 9-car hauler. I don't care if we're only going 3 miles across town. I'm sending the 9-car hauler. Bang. And we used to do that all the time for big auctions. That's Kansas City when they moved from Lee Summit to Belton. Kansas City, Missouri, Lee Summit, Missouri to Belton, Missouri. It wasn't that far. I don't even know if it was 15 miles, maybe. Not very far. And they let us have every car in Lee Summit to pick it up and take it to Belton. Just bang, bang. I mean, that was the most fun ever. And everybody's like, that's stupid. You're working your ass off and you're sweating your balls off. You know, it's terrible. Well, the $1 per mile, guys, $1 per mile.
Yeah. And
9 car.
So let's look at that scenario. So you're moving from auction to auction. One auction is you're building a new facility. So you've got a yard full of cars. And you've got a 9-car hauler. It's almost like playing, like a little kid playing in a sandbox with a scoop in a bucket, right? It's pretty easy to fill that bucket up with sand because you know right where it is. So that's what you're doing. You're filling your bucket really fast, and then you get to go back and forth. But the difficulty is you move this outside, and we start going to dealerships, or we start going to the repo yards, go to these other places, and now you've got to sift through the sand to find that 1 or 2 car that you need. And it's not always at the gate. Sometimes it's buried back. It's always whatever car you need is always in the middle of the lot, buried. Never. Even when you go to Bob's and go back to his wholesale pin, and he's got those 6 cars for you, I'll guarantee you 4 of them are buried.
Yeah.
It never fails. Yeah. And usually they're buried by 3 or 4 no starts that, you got to dig or move or pull out of the way so you can get the ones that actually run that got buried by the in-ops.
Well, see here, this is really good conversation because, okay, if I'm a dealer, I have options to buy and sell cars. I can traditionally, I go to the auction. Now you've got buying online. Okay, now you've got Service Drive, you've got places like VinQ, you've got other ones like Dealers Link where you're swapping inventory, and so there's all these different avenues that a dealer can access cars. Now, when we're having this conversation, here's what I think. Okay, as an auction person, you have no idea what I do as a transport guy when I get to that dealership. I got to find the right guy. I got to find the keys. I got to deal with, we might have sold that one. Hold on. Just go, wait a minute. And it's an hour later. And you may not know that, but that's real. It really happens. So one of the solutions that I've thought for a long time is go do me a favor. Go follow ACV. What do? They send a crew of anywhere between 2, maybe 3 guys to the dealer's lot where they have their online sale. What are they doing there? They're organizing, they're planning, they're gathering, they're parking, they're moving stuff, they're touching stuff. And I think, okay, if I'm a physical auction and I've got all these adversaries trying to come and take my market share, what can I do that's better than the auction, other auctions? What can I do that's better than the other auctions? And what can I do that's better than ACV or OpenLane? Those are the 2 primary backlot car kind of idea. Where you tell the dealer, they're selling the dealer, they're saying, dealer, you don't need to go to the auction. We can have the auction right here. You don't have to deal with Rich. You don't have to deal with Ty. You don't want to deal with them anyway. And the dealer's like, yeah, you know, you're right, because he shows up early, he shows up late, he's mad because I told him 4 and there's only 3, and you know what, you're right, let's give it a shot. They signed some kind of contract, and guess who just lost out on all that business? The physical auction. So I've been thinking about it. The physical auction, if you know your numbers, and I don't think it's any different than any other business, you know your numbers. You know your business, your expenses, your income, your revenue, whatever you want to call it. What's it cost you to send a couple dudes to those 19 locations,
56 cars, yeah.
to gather those 56 cars, right? It's going to cost you some gas money, maybe a driver, but you're building that relationship. You're building consistency. I think you coined the phrase CAT. You're building consistency, you're building accuracy, and you're building transparency. The same 2 dudes roll in every week at the same time. They go through the inventory. Here's the checklist. They get it to where they don't have to see it. This is Bob's lot. Bob usually calls. He's usually got 3 or 4. We don't know with Bob. So Bob, we're here. We're a little early, 10 o'clock. Sorry about that, but we want to get ahead of this for you. How you doing today? Here's a donut, Bob.
Bob likes donuts.
Bob's happy with the donut. Bob's building that relationship. We're building trust. We're building transparency, and we're building accuracy. So if I'm a physical auction, and I want dealer cars, dealer consignment cars, and I want a lot of them, I'm going to do that every week.
That's a great idea.
I'm going to send to the same 19 guys. I'm going to have them do the same script. I'm going to give them the same Starbucks gift card, whatever you want to do. I don't care, hat, T-shirt. You got a whole backyard full of them, I'm sure, laying around there somewhere that has your logo, your name, whatever you want all over it. Load it up in the back of the trunk. Hand them out as you're doing your job. All you're doing is you're getting cars and keys and getting ready for the transport guy or the driveway service to come along and clean this mess up. Smooth, seamless, flawless transaction so nobody can tell my dealer, hey, you don't want to mess with Ty and Rich.
That's right, because we've built up consistency, accuracy, and transparency, which equals trust.
Yeah.
But you
So to me, that is where it goes. That's what I would be doing if I was an auction guy. I would be finding a couple dudes that know the game kind of well, put them in a car, go get them.
Sales
every
reps.
Week.
There's a couple of good sales reps. And that's what, and I don't know, maybe sometimes they just don't want to roll their shirt sleeves up. They're afraid to get their khakis dirty. Maybe they got new shoes.
Yeah.
But you're going to go out on Monday, Tuesday before the sale, and you're going to go call on these dealers and ask for cars. While you're there, hey, right now, let's walk out to the pin. I'm going to go out to the pin right now, and then go back there, walk through it, grab the keys, talk to your, the lot porter guy that you were talking about earlier, build a relationship with him. Hey, Bob, I know you said you got 6, but I just counted 12 back there. I got prime spots for you. Yeah.
I got you the best run numbers. Ty's on his way. Were you good? I just need a yes or no. Thumbs up, thumbs down. You tell me. We get to that. I've gotten to that place where you don't even have to say that. Do that. You're at the auction, right? You know the sign. There's 6, there's 7, there's 8, 9, right?
Yep.
So you just wave at the guy and you said, yes. And he's like,
oh, yeah, exactly.
I'm not kidding you. You build that relationship, you build that trust, you do a good job. You get the cars to the auction. I'm always hoping that I've got a lot of buyers to run the price up for my buddy Bob, because I want Bob to give me more cars and I want him to get more money for his cars and sell more cars.
Yeah. And there's a couple of ways to get more money. I think
you're right. I think it is a sales rep, but not quite. I think it needs to be a little more more grit, because I've dealt with the auctions to sales reps, say in a metro area. They've never left that cubicle, I promise. They don't know. And I'm not being mean. They're my favorite people, but they've never left. So that's where I learned to pick up the ball and start doing these things that we're talking about, getting ahead of them, getting ahead of my auction sales rep.
And what I like about you is you're not the typical transporter, because I've seen typical transporters. If we want to be stereotypical, they walk in, grungy pants or shorts. Their T-shirt is over their bare belly. You can see their belly hanging out because they've had too many donuts, too many sodas, going and picking up cars, and then they bitch at you because you didn't get enough. You didn't get enough. You said there's 6, and I got 4. It's your fault. Okay, but you took a whole different stance on this, which I love. And that stance is how do you be proactive? And
that's really what does it come from frustration? Probably, Right?
Absolutely.
I mean, I would
What
start
comes out
getting
of
frustrated.
necessity? Comes out of necessity,
Yeah,
right?
necessity. That's exactly right. Yeah.
It's the
And
mother
same
of
thing with the
invention.
repo guy. Yeah, out of necessity. So I feel like, and you are right, and that I was trying to be nice, but you nailed it better than I did. The transport community as a whole doesn't understand sales and really doesn't understand the ecosystem auction dealer world. They're trucks, I got to change my oil, I got to grease the fifth wheel, lube the thing and the spindles and do the other thing, and that's really what I focus on is maintenance. And I've talked to those guys, and they're right. They're not doing any sales. And you can have your truck in perfect mint condition, but it's not going to go anywhere until somebody sells something. So I may have not been the best maintenance guy, and I may have spent extra money I didn't need to spend on maintenance, but I understood maintenance wasn't my passion. Generating relationships and generating revenue and building something that had a solid foundation was my passion. People. That was always my passion.
So I think if we could take anything away from this conversation, the biggest piece is, number one, is teamwork, right? So the sales people at the auction can't get pissed off at the transporter. The transporter needs to not get pissed off at the auction because we have a mutual customer, and that's the dealer. And as you always say, we've got to love the dealer. So how do we work better together and not work against each other?
Yeah. Well, and it's communication. I think you're a big proponent of communication, big fan of that. You talk about communication quite a bit. To me, this real fine line, I'm about to get mad, is now a really good time to communicate. Maybe not. And I think that's where, I think you used the term a minute ago, self-awareness. Are you aware of your triggers? And it sounds crazy, but I know my triggers, and I know when I need to not talk. I know when I need to leave. So, a lot of these things come out of right in the middle in the heat of it. We all get our hair on fire and everybody's starting to throw things. Well, try to learn to don't do that. That's where Rich comes in to teach us don't do that.
Well,
right?
You want to respond, not react. And they're two totally different things. So reacting is going off that trigger. So you get triggered, you react, you get pissed off, you do stuff you probably wouldn't want to. Responding is actually taking a time out and thinking about what you want to say, using some emotional intelligence or critical thinking skills, and think about it for a couple seconds. And it's going back, and I try to walk you through an example. You just showed up at my sale with 4 cars. I asked for 6, and you said, "Hey, Bob wholesaled those other 2." Ty, how'd you let that go? I told you to be there, get them on your truck. Why'd you let them wholesale them? Or I can go back and say, and take the response side and say, what can you tell me about this, Ty? Do you know anything? Like, who do you wholesale them to? Where'd they go? And if we start becoming curious, we can start learning about what's going on. And like you had mentioned earlier, hey, Rich, he's telling the guy to be there at 8 o'clock, 2 hours before I show up. Aha. Now we've got something. And it's based on teamwork versus getting pissed off at each other. What good does it do to get pissed off at each other?
See, what I did was I would get there early to find out who was there buying them. And I did that for a reason because I learned real quick, especially we touched on buy here, pay here last week, but I learned, this is where I started learning recon. So I'm mad at the dealer, Bob, right now, and I'm kind of mad at you, the auction, too, because you, in essence, you didn't know, but you lied to me. At least that's what the typical transporter thinks. But the typical transporter doesn't understand that you got your information from Bob. Rather than get mad at you and rather than get mad at Bob, I look at this as an opportunity to gain a new customer, gain a new client. What do you mean? Well, who was here buying those cars? Oh, it was Billy. Billy? Yeah. Billy buys all the wholesales. Well, who's Billy work for? Oh, he buys all the cars for Carmart. He's the car buyer for Carmart. Oh. You got Billy's number? Yeah, hang on. Hey, Billy, I'm over here. I saw you bought a couple cars. You want me to load them up and take them somewhere for you? Who is this? What are you talking about? I'm Ty. I'm the transport guy. I haul Bob's cars all the time, and I know Rich at the auction. I'm happy that you bought cars, and I just didn't know if you had anybody to pick these up. I'm here right now. I can pick them up for you. Oh, yeah, hell yeah. Just pick them up and take them over to the recon center. That'd be great. I just scored a new customer.
And then you get
Billy
to the recon
is at
center.
Bob's every Tuesday. Yeah. Then you get to the recon center, you really get crazy. You're like, wow. Super excited. So these are things that I've learned the hard way. It's taken a lot of years to get to this place, to see it, to calm down, to pay attention, to listen. But I'm telling you, if you're here now, and you've been in the business as long as Rich and I have, I promise you, Rich has given me ideas and I've given Rich ideas. And you don't have to have all the answers. And we don't. I don't have all the answers at all, not even close. But I do feel like as we continue to explore and offer solutions, we create solutions almost in a sense. I think that's fair to say.
That is fair
as
to
we
say.
keep going through this. You need to cut that clip out where you say, you can buy your groceries online, right? Yeah. And you can drive to the store and park in a parking spot, and you can, on your phone, push a button and they bring the groceries out to you and they load them for you. Boom. You don't have to come in the auction. You're fine. You go sit in the lounge and watch whatever we got on the screen, and here's a coffee or a water. Enjoy with free Wi-Fi. We'll have your cars out to you in less than an hour. Would be beating the door down to go to your auction. They would want to go pick up cars at your auction all the time, which in turn creates this dealer getting his cars faster with less trouble. You reduce, I think you even said it, you're reducing liability of theft and damage and all kinds of things, because now you're controlling what's going on behind the gate. It's your people.
Yep.
Now just stay right there. We got it. Well, that's a big expense, is it?
That's a $100,000
I mean, how's it
question.
working out for you now? Right?
Well, I just had to
Tell me
buy
how it's
floor
going
mats,
now.
a couple set of key fobs. Good thing the gear shift knob problem's gone away, but I did lose a couple cats and a few other things. So, I mean, it does. It solves a ton of problems if you just look at things through a different lens.
It's not the big that eat the small. It's the fast that eat the slow. So if I'm an auction, I'm going to learn to be fast. I'm going to learn to be nimble. I'm going to learn to be, I can turn on a dime if I have to. I know Bob's going to call. I know he's going to say he's got 3, maybe 4. I know when I get there, there's going to be 2. I can deal with it. I've got my team. I've got my transport guy, my driveway guy. I've got my auction staff ready to go. That's where I like to see auctions go if I were an auction guy.
So you and I both know that Bob calls every week on Tuesday. Ty, would you be willing to work with me if I just book you right now for the next 6 months? Every Tuesday at 10 o'clock, I need you at Bob's. I'm buying all 6 spots on your trailer. Guaranteed every week. Will you work with me?
Yeah, I will work with you. Absolutely. And I'll tell you what else I'll do for you. I'll be there Wednesday after the sale, and I'll move anything you want out of the sale for you.
So would planning ahead and doing something like that actually benefit you versus me calling at, at 9 o'clock on Tuesday morning saying you got to be there at 10 o'clock?
Yeah.
Or maybe I call it 11 o'clock saying you should have been there an hour ago?
Well, think about it. Okay, you don't really want to go into the auto transport business as an auction, do you?
Thank you for joining me on this episode of Meet Me at the Gate. I hope the conversation has helped to fuel your drive and equip you with insights to steer your team towards success. Remember, the road to success is always under construction. And until next time, keep your engines revving and your gas tanks full.